Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Gene. You guys are watching Lubed for January the 10th, 2024. This is Season 3, Episode 29. Not a Picasso, but the Oilers got it done. Now, guys, honest to God, it was about halfway through that game. I'm like, what should I title this? And I said, it's definitely not a Picasso. And then all of a sudden, everywhere, you're seeing all the YouTubers and even the media guys calling it, yeah, it wasn't a Picasso. And I'm like, oh, now it's going to feel like I'm copying it. But I'm still going to hold on to my idea, considering it was about halfway through yesterday's game that I thought it was not a Picasso. And it definitely wasn't. The Oilers were definitely in tough against the Hawks. Definitely weren't firing on all cylinders, and they got to play a much better game against a much stronger Detroit Red Wings tomorrow night, or that streak is going to stop at 8. And we'll get into that. We're going to get into the Oilers-Hawks game. We're going to get into the goals that were called back, as there was 2 goals by Zach Hyman that were called back. And both of them, I thought, were very, very... Well, I think the goaltender interference one was definitely not a goaltender interference. The offside, I'm on the fence, so I'm going to ask for your guys' opinion on that. We're also going to get into the Pacific Division standings, and we're going to talk about the Wings, and then I'm going to get into your thoughts if you're joining me tonight, and it'd be really nice to have you guys join me tonight. Okay, guys, let's get into the game between the Chicago Blackhawks and the Edmonton Oilers last night. We all thought this should be an easy win. Connor Bedard is out. No, it wasn't. And props to Stuart Skinner for having a hell of a game again. I really do believe if Connor Bedard was playing, we would not win that game. No way. They just took it. I don't know what it was. If they're like, we have a lot of pride in ourselves. That's McDavid, that's Draisaitl. Let's show what we got. We can play a good game too. So anyway, let's dive into this game here a little bit. As it was tight. It was a very tight game. Only 3 goals in the whole game. And one was by Chicago, and it happened to be the first one at 5:52. And here's a crazy stat about that one, is that ended 285 minutes of an Edmonton Oilers lead. The Oilers, up until that point, at 5:52 of the first period, had 285 minutes that they held on to the lead, and it was abolished by that Jason Dickinson goal at 5:52. And it was an unassisted goal as well. Leon Draisaitl would get his 19th later 3 minutes later in the period. And it would be from Ryan McLeod and Darnell Nurse. Just a sweet little puck lift up into the left side of the pocket. And we got a 1-1 game. We go into the second period where another sweet goal by Connor McDavid from Matthias Ekholm would end up being the GWG and the last goal of the game. It is a 2-1 final. The Edmonton Oilers had only 15 shots on goal. They were 0% on the power play, but they only had 1 attempt. However, they were also lights out on the penalty kill as they stopped all 3 power plays the Blackhawks had. Skinner had a .945 save percentage, and I tell you what, he was actually the stud of the game because the chances or the shots that Chicago was giving weren't just your average shots. A lot of them were grade A shots, and Stuart Skinner wound up saving them. Again, ESPN, I don't know what ESPN had for stars, but I'm going with my own gut feeling of who the star was of this game, and that was Stuart Skinner. He kept us in the game again, and again, he stole us a game. He's starting to steal us a game, and that's what we need, is a goaltender that is stealing us games. So another great effort by him. Connor McDavid definitely would be the second star for the GWG, and it was a sweet goal. And I'm going to give the third star to Warren Foegele. because out of the 15 shots, he had 4 of them. So obviously he was playing a little fired up, a little bit, with a little intensity. He had 4 of the 15 shots. So that's pretty impressive. Even though it didn't pan out to be anything, the effort was there. So I'm going to give him a star just because of that effort. So in that game, there was two instances where the goal got called back from the Edmonton Oilers, and it could have been very much different. The first one, I really think, should have been a goal, as Zach Hyman was called for goaltender interference. He bumps Mrazek ever so slightly, about 5 seconds prior to the puck actually going in. He bumps him, then he's out of his crease, and whatever reason, they called it back. So I wasn't too happy about that. The second one, I'm on the fence about, and I'm going to go to you guys, and I'm going to do a little vote on this one. Currently, it's very divided, because I last checked, there was 10 people who voted, and it's at a 50-50 split a little while ago, and we'll get into that. I do want to play, before I get into that, a little excerpt of yesterday's post-game interview with Connor McDavid. So let's get into that.
For a team that you guys had that Makar goal go against you a couple of years ago, do you have an opinion on the Draisaitl one that's all similar? What did you think of that?
I do. I mean, obviously, if it takes you 15 minutes to determine if it's offside or not, it probably doesn't really matter. I talked to the linesman after. Ultimately, it's not their call, I guess. Obviously they said it came down from the league, but you zoom in, you keep zooming in until you can't zoom in anymore, and I guess it's offside. So, you know what? These are calls that change games, and ultimately it didn't go our way. That was a big call. It would have really hurt them, and I thought it should have been onside. I mean, it's kind of possession too, right? Like the argument of possession. That whole debate can start again. It was such a close one. You'd like to see it. I think the NHL uses the analogy dead wrong, right? If it's dead wrong or something like that. I don't know what they say. Like they want it to be clear and obvious, right?
So there you have it, guys.
That one's certainly not clear and obvious.
This one is tough. I honestly don't even know where I stand on this. This is tough. It can go either way, but like Connor was saying, it shouldn't take 15 minutes to make a decision. Is it offside? Is it not? Stop zooming in to try to find the infraction. Make a decision and go with it. So I kind of get where he's coming from in regards to that, but it didn't go their way. Guys, if you scan that QR code that is just below me right on the opposite side right here, that QR code will take me to the YouTube community page. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. You can vote. I want to see how this vote goes. Like I said, at about 2 hours ago, like this little graph here that you see is not up to date. That was actually posted last night when I actually decided to do the vote on this. But about 2 hours ago, there was 10 votes in, and it was a 50-50 split. So I'd like to see how this one plays out. I don't know what I think on that one. Was it a goal? Was it not a goal? I think definitely the first infraction, the goalie interference, I think should have been a goal, 100%. But it wasn't. However, regardless of either situation, the Oilers need to play better than what they played yesterday. Hand it to Skinner for the win, and that was a very good outing for him. So yeah, please vote, and we'll see, and I'll tell you the results on the next episode. All right, let's get into the Pacific Division standings. As the Edmonton Oilers are now in a playoff spot, well, have been for a couple days now, and maintain it, and the LA Kings are actually have a streak of themselves going, but in the opposite direction, as they lost the last 6 in a row. This could be very interesting here, as I think the Edmonton Oilers are only, 3 points back of them? I'm going to just take a quick peek here. Oh, I can't even see the graphic. Yeah, I can't even see that graphic. I should have popped it up on my main monitors here. But yeah, the Edmonton Oilers are, I think I checked, they're 3 or 4 points back of the LA Kings for that third place. So, um, this is good. This is good. But again, they got a tough Detroit Red Wing team tomorrow night. Very tough team. And I'm going to explain some of the things that concern me about that when we get into this. But yeah, we're starting to see a little bit of a swing of motion now. The Oilers are starting to ride high, and teams like the LA Kings are starting to fall. It's great to see these guys in a playoff position, is it not? I love it. I am pumped. Awesome, man. I don't know how it happened. I still don't know how it happened, but it has happened. The Edmonton Oilers are currently holding on to a playoff position with games in hand, which is always nice as well. All right, so next up for the Edmonton Oilers is the Detroit Red Wings tomorrow night at Little Caesars Plaza, or whatever it's called, Little Caesars Arena. This is a nice arena. I don't think it's as nice as Rogers Place, but it is a nice arena. And this was shortly opened after Rogers Place, so it is I think the newest arena currently in the league, and it is a very good one. They are taking on a very strong Detroit Red Wing team. Now, some of the stats that Detroit has here, I'm just going to pull it up here, or some of the things is, okay, so Detroit right now has a record of 20-16-4. Their home record is 10-7-3. And in the last 10, they are 5 for 5 on a 3-game winning streak. So they're playing pretty good as well. Alex Leon has a goals against average of .920, so a little bit up on Stuart Skinner, or on Calvin Pickard. I guess Calvin Pickard might be, they have him listed right now. He might be the goaltender, so that, well, we'll see what happens here. He's got to get some starts, though. Okay. Some of the things that concern me is when it comes to goals, Detroit Red Wings are tied for 5th with 3.55. When it comes to shots on goal, they're 22nd, but their shots on goal they make good on, as they are 2nd in the league with their shooting percentage with 11.9. Obviously, the Oilers are doing much better. The last time these guys played was February 15th, 2023. Detroit beat us 5-4. So we hope to get a little bit of vengeance from that loss, and we'll see what happens. Some of the special teams, Detroit is 11th for the penalty kill. Their power play is 13th in the league at 21.9%. So there is some, this is going to be a tough one. And if they play the way they played against Chicago, the streak's over. They have to play better than that. And I think it was a bit of a wake-up call for them in this one. All right, guys, let's go to final thoughts. If there's any comments, no comments so far. So I will just move on to wrapping her up pretty quick here. Oilers are playing hot. They're doing something that I just didn't see 2 months ago. I knew that the only way they would save this season is to have 2 massive streaks, and they are on the verge of this. Now, the question also I have for you guys is, if they manage to break the Edmonton Oilers win streak, and Knobloch already has achieved a status point in his 25 games of having 2 8-game winning streaks, or 7-game winning streaks it is, for the first time in NHL history. Does that put him in the conversation for Coach of the Year? I would think so. Especially if they manage to get themselves not only into the playoffs, but into a top 3 divisional spot and home ice advantage. This would be something, from coming back from 31st or 32nd in the league, which they were dead last at one point in time, and we all remember that. We were all like, I know, I know I wasn't a happy camper. I know I was probably really holding off using some language on this channel. But they are playing better. They are playing extremely better. Okay, guys, I am going to wrap this up. If you guys are watching this for the very first time and like the content I bring, please feel free to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. To the guys that have been with me through thick and thin, thank you. I appreciate it. And let's continue the ride together when the Oilers win a Stanley Cup, and we'll have a good old party online. Other than that, I think it's a wrap. I don't know when I'm going to be on next. I got to just take a look at the schedule. But when I am, we will discuss the Red Wings. We are also going to go into Armchair GM. And then the next game that's up for the Oilers. You guys have an amazing night. We will see you next time.